Snipers will always be an important item in video games, whether your bitch ass likes it or not. However, not all games treat them in the same way. In Battlefield, there are these extremely long-range, hard-to-use, satisfying weapons. Call of Duty is quite the opposite. People with snipers are running around the map, jumping and doing these crazy 360 spins, while the actual campers use assault rifles and LMGs. The op from CSGO feels like a one-shot pistol with a scope glued on it. And then of course there is Paladins. Yeah, snipers are whack in Paladins, not because they have bad damage or any of that stuff, just allow me to demonstrate. Before we talk about snipers, we have to first identify what counts as a sniper. Just because you can play a champion in long range doesn't mean they're necessarily snipers. Champions like Shaolin and Leon do very well in close range. By that I mean snipers usually get a brain tumor whenever they try to scope someone who's very close. So for the sake of appealing to the majority of you guys, I'm only gonna include Kinessa and Owlboy. Let's start with the one who came out first. You see, back in 2016, the only thing that was close to a sniper was Cassie. I still fucking miss this bow. Until they introduced Kinessa, and the first thing people did was comparing her to that purple chick from a certain game. By the way, this is not the damn history channel, I'm only trying to make you understand how things were different. And boy, they were really different. Kinessa is what I would like to call a victim of the passage of time. For instance, she had so much fucking freedom back then. I'm talking about getting on top of a tree, getting on top of a building, also getting on top of a bigger tree, and get on top of an iceberg. Get on top of a palm tree, you can get on top of a rock. That's right, it was that insane. She was never really stuck with your typical flankable spots. Speaking of those, there was like 3 or 4 flanks, and a very good Kinessa never really struggled with any of them. Sure, Evie was kinda OP, but the moment she goes inside the stupid ice cube, you have a Kinessa looking at her just how I look at my Vivian during bedtime. Adrix was a little bit of an issue for her, but his dashes were so fucking loud. They were louder than a goddamn AMD graphic card, so it wasn't really that hard to find where the piece of shit is coming from. You could simply get away from a Skye since she won't be able to follow you that quickly, and Buck, I don't want to get into the reason why, but trust me my children, Buck wasn't the same Buck that he is today. In conclusion, our girl Kinessa didn't have to deal with so much bullshit back in the day. Some champions aged nicely, some champions aged very nicely, and some champions did not age nicely. When Tyra came out in late 2016, her Hunter Mark ability was making it hard for Kinessa to peek shots. I assume you're already familiar with the process. In a nutshell, you scope and hide in a corner, and the moment your shot is charged, PAH! You peek and try to land that shot. The idea is to peek from unexpected places with each shot. It's used to keep the enemy guessing from where you're gonna peek next. Hunter Mark removed that guessing. I'm just getting warmed up. A certain champion came out, and let me tell you, till this day, this champion is the most over-fucking-rated, overloved, overprotected, for the most pathetic reasons. I swear to God, if you try and talk shit about her, people will fucking melt you. That champion is Maeve. Maeve came out. This is where things for Kinessa started to transform into a fuckfest. You see, the disadvantage wasn't keeping up with Kinessa, the disadvantage was keeping up with Kinessa too, when she uses her key ability, the teleportation. Assuming Andrew already used up his dashes, he can't catch up with Kinessa. Skye only had a speed boost, and Buck's leap wasn't really perfect, so the only flank that could follow her consistently is Evie, but a Kinessa main wouldn't really struggle with a 1800 HP following her, at least not in the majority of times. So, to cut this short, Maeve fucks Kinessa in every way possible. Like literally, I fucking mean it. Even in that 50% situation where Kinessa is aware of Maeve flanking her, she can never really finish her off, thanks to Maeve being a pussy-made champion for cowards that can flee any battle they want and come back after they're fully healed. Remember those tricky, sneaky spots I told you about? They were being Thanos-snapped with each update, leaving Kinessa to use the generic spots that anyone can get up to. As I said, Maeve was only the start. Talus came out, and his ult is literally a one big middle finger towards Kinessa. Koga can just dash in the most unskilled way so she can waste all her fully charged shots. By the time he gets to her, she will look like a fucking clown. They also removed payload, which I still pray for Mojo Jojo to bring back. Honestly, I think Kinessa would have been much more comfortable in payload than Strix, just because it required you to keep moving and changing spots. And the maps, they were literally built for Kinessa. Oh yeah, I forgot about this half-furry piece of shit. When people started being fed up with Kinessa and how shitty her defense was, Strix was added, and almost everyone hopped on that owl dick. Even his trailer was disrespectful to Kinessa. That's right, instead of properly reworking Kinessa to match the current state of the game, they were like, hey, so you know that one chick with abs called Kinessa? Yeah, forget about her, she's lame, take this edgy asshole. He's more approachable and straightforward, especially if you're coming from every other generic FPS. Also, he's controller friendly. Very controller friendly. Strix is literally built for people who suck total wee-wee poo-poo at Kinessa. The major difference in these two is the way they deal with flanks. The newer champion could go invisible. It's not the most crazy thing in the game, but it gets the job done to get away from a tight situation. You can also use it to land shots from unexpected places, at least for the first few rounds where no one bot illuminates. This doesn't need any introduction. Max out roost, max out morale boost, and your enemies are gonna be shitting white shit the entire night. Do I really have to explain this one? Alright, fuck it, but I'm just saying, I'm gonna try to make this short. The only reason I can think of for someone to choose Kinessa over Strix is her headshot talents, maybe Headhunter too. One thing I noticed in a good Kinessa is that they know when they need a fully charged shot or half charged shot, and sometimes they barely let a charge and they still get the kill. That's not very easy to get used to. If you are a Shaolin main, I think you can relate to what I'm saying. Her mobility is just not worth it. It doesn't make a huge difference. It doesn't make any form of impact on the match, at least for the casual players. Strix is just more simple to use, both in long range and close range. He almost has everything a sniper main would want. When I was playing these two earlier this day, I noticed something really fun about Strix, and you can get right in the enemy face and just... where Kinessa is forced to flee, unless you're that good of a Kinessa and just scope the bastards, whatever they are. Oh my god. Look, the best way to describe this is Kinessa is decent, heck, maybe even good, but Strix is just better and easier at the moment. But hey, don't take my word for it.
He pulls out a quickscope for 1200 damage and pulls out his pistol that shoots what I can only describe as a machine gun to do over 1000 DPS, and the flank is dead in less than 2 seconds. If she gets flanked and then she gets a scope shot, well, she takes a while to, charge up her scope, where Strix can just do a quick scope, and then the left click DPS from Kinessa is probably equal to Strix, considering Strix also has to hit Q to pull out his pistol.
Which brings me back to my original point. Snipers and Paladins are whack because the more interesting and fun way of playing them is just too outdated now, and it's not being supported by the game mechanics, and the way that actually works and fits well in the game is just... I don't fucking know. Simplistic, boring, uninteresting, and fucking easy. Let me explain the last two. I only find Strix uninteresting because I played too much Call of Duty when I was a kid, okay? Before you attack me like a brain-dead sheep and comment your overused statement, which is Strix requires aim, you fucking idiot. Besides, I don't hear the pros complaining about Strix being OP. Listen here, dipshit. Pros are a rare species of nightly creatures who spend 20 hours a day playing Paladins for a living. These sick bastards don't find anything in the game hard or complicated to use. But when a guy who only plays Paladins ironically tells you that Strix is a low-skill piece of shit, he's goddamn right. There was a lot times where I didn't shoot a guy properly, but the game still gave me a hit mark because the hitboxes sucks Godzilla's dick. Usually in other games, the hard way is the most rewarding way, but that's not the case for Paladins. I might go out of the subject here, but fuck it. In my experience, the majority of Strix mains are fucking douchebags. If I can count how many times someone sent me their shitty montage to react to, it would be a fucking 100. They use some stupid free software with the most popular NCS song and add crappy translations. The hitboxes aren't accurate. What the fuck are you trying to prove by this montage? Their wallpaper is probably some edgy Strix shit. They never shut up about how good they are with him. And god, they make sure to say it in the most emo way possible. Stay low, move fast, kill first, die last, one shot, one kill, no luck, pure skill. Shut the fuck up! Before I finish this video, I would like to say this is not a rant towards Evil Mojo or any of that sort. I don't expect them to do anything to Kinessa, but it would be really nice if they do.
Break it off, I just wanna see you take it off. T-Swift, that shit, yeah, shake it off. Are we gonna take a trip? Taking off, oh yeah, lay you down. I just wanna be your body now. Your life's too short, I'm from out of town, so we better get to work, yeah, working out. I get blacked out too easy. Ever since